Hey everyone, Django Fett here. So, time to get into my last list for this year, and that is the best video games of 2022. This is not in any particular order that I will go through, but these are the games that I enjoyed for this year, which was not very good. Not very good year for video games. Nothing really anything great or special to me, just in my personal opinion. I know people want to put Elden Ring and God of War. I don't play those games. I don't play mainstream, Dark Souls and anything mainstream I don't really play. So, those games are not for me. I played a lot of older games from last year or 2 years ago, and I played, a couple of them from here, a lot of them from here as well. Whatever sprouted up. So, let's get into it, starting with Psychonauts 2. So, I didn't play this last year. Finally got a chance to play it on Game Pass. I've actually never played Psychonauts before, but I was really interested in this game, and it was fucking awesome. Great story revolving around Rasputin and him jumping into other people's brains and trying to figure out the issues from there. Just a really fun and engaging game, and I really love the story. This has the best story in any video game I have played in quite some time. Definitely out of my list here, it has the best story. If you haven't played this game is freaking awesome. I'm definitely going to be replaying this again, but I am definitely looking forward to Psychonauts 3 if they have that in the future, but I know this took some time. So the next is Death's Door. This actually came out last year as well, and I also played Tunic, and I fucking hated Tunic. I thought it was rubbish in comparison to Death's Door. I gotta give credit to the guy who made it, one guy, but Death's Door is where it's at. It's like a Legend of Zelda, Dark Souls inspired game. Even though I didn't finish it, this was a great game, fantastic game. And fun use of different abilities as you progress and a lot of different secrets. I mean, I would describe it as Tunic, but a million times better. So definitely check out Death's Door for sure. Next is Gorogoa. This actually came out a couple years ago. This is a really interesting puzzle game where as you try to figure out the pieces, you discover this really interesting story and progress in each and every level. And it's a pretty short game, but it's really thought-provoking for me. Really inspired by different, paintings in the past. Visually brilliant game, and I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to be playing it a second and third time for sure, but I thought it was unique the way the levels were progressing as you were completing the puzzle. So I've never seen something like this, but I decided to give it a shot on Game Pass, and it was well worth my time. Next is Far Changing Tides. This is probably my favorite indie game of this year. Second favorite indie game, I would say for sure. So I'm big into atmospheric games, or silent but atmospheric games where the characters are silent and you progress, through this quiet world. And you play as this character who just, crash lands or something. There's no recollection of his memory. And you have to pilot this sub of sorts, or this boat or sub of sorts. And you progress throughout just going to the right. Just keep progressing to the right and figure out a way to get to the end of wherever. This actually inspired me to play Far Lone Sails as well, the first game. And the studio behind it, Okomotive, just did a tremendous job with both games. Really great job. I'm telling you, if they make a third game, they need to make it co-op. I think that would be perfect because the way they set it up for the ending, it makes the most sense for me. Next is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. This also came out a couple years ago. Finally had some downtime because there was not really much going on this year, and I'm actually playing it some more now. I'm a big fan of the MechWarrior series. I love BattleTech. I love the origins and the lore of BattleTech. I'm trying to get into the minis now and the role-playing game. I'm trying to get back into BattleTech and MechWarrior, and playing this game, it was freaking amazing. The campaign is nothing brilliant, but the gameplay is where it's at, where you command a mech, or many different types of mechs, depending on what you get and whatnot. Get these contracts and you get hired by whatever faction, and then you just do it. And there's not only a campaign, but there's also a career mode, and you could start anywhere and pick your adventure and get your own different mechs as you progress. Plus there's also plenty of DLC, and there's going to be another DLC coming out pretty soon. So there's a lot of things to be hopeful for this game. Hopefully a sequel to this game, maybe MechWarrior 6, and have clans come into the mix, because that's where it's at. Clan Jade Falcon, that's my clan right there. All right, I love the clans, and if they include that, added whole different dimension to MechWarrior now, with the whole different, totally different clan mechs, and making career mode even bigger and better. I mean, the sky is the limit now, or the galaxy, I should say. The galaxy is the limit now with how they can do MechWarrior in the future. The next game is Sniper Elite 5. Another game on Xbox Game Pass. I swear Xbox Game Pass has been having some pretty good additions to the game, so I don't have to really spend all my money. I can just go on Game Pass and just play it, as even new games. So Sniper Elite 5, I looked forward to this because I actually like the Sniper Elite series. And playing this, it adds like a bigger levels where you can just progress any way you want to kill the targets or follow the objectives. It's up to you. And I liked exploring each and every level and just trying to, figure out how to get to your target. It's honestly really fun. Really fun. There's so many unique levels and objectives and weapons, so to keep you engaged. Next is Severed Steel. This is a really interesting game. This is a mix of Matrix, Cyberpunk, Retrowave, Vaporwave. It's a little bit of everything. You play as this character where you just have to beat every single enemy throughout each level. And you slide, you do these slow motion maneuvers to get the weapons and shoot them. It's honestly really cool, and it's also a mix of John Wick, I should have said earlier. Slow motions, John Wick, Matrix, it's just a combination of everything that makes you feel like a badass every single freaking time, and so freaking cool. And it's pretty cheap. It's a really great indie game. Next is A Plague Tale Requiem. This was I'll say my number 2 most anticipated game of the year, and it was just awesome. While I think the story was not as good as Innocence, this one goes just over the top craziness with the rats and the plague just being unleashed upon, I guess, France at that time. It was still fun. I still had a great time with this game, and the gameplay is even bigger and better. You can be stealthy or you can just go gung-ho. It's totally up to you. I'm more of a stealthy player myself. Graphically, it's just amazing to look at. This bigger world, and the performances by, the actress, the main actress, is tremendous. She should have won a Game Award. She should have won like a freaking Emmy for her performance, because it is phenomenal in this game. So if you loved Innocence, you're going to enjoy the hell out of Requiem. And I cannot wait for the third game, whenever that comes. And no idea how that's going to turn out to be. But the second game, very good. Requiem is awesome. Next is Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope. So this is a XCOM type of game where you control 3 characters, 3 different Nintendo characters, and you battle it out against evil rabbits, or whatever they're called. I explored 5 or I think 6 different worlds, quests and then side quests, and there's a lot. There's a lot to this game. This time around, the combat style is much, much different, and you can actually traverse as much as you want, and there's no restriction this time around like the first game. And the combat is just bigger and better than ever, and that's what we wanted. However, I do wish there was, added 4 to 5 players, characters fighting at one time instead of just 3. In my personal opinion, I do wish they kind of expanded that, but I did have a lot of fun in the combat, and hopefully they have some more DLC down the road, because I did really enjoy the first game's DLC with Donkey Kong introduced in the mix. So we'll see how they approach the DLC for this. Hopefully it's not just redundant like Ubisoft has done in the past, but surprisingly, one of Ubisoft's best projects in years. This is the only thing that I'm looking forward to when it comes to Ubisoft. And I guess Assassin's Creed Mirage when it comes down for next year. But Mario & Rabbids seems to be the best thing that Ubisoft has done, for sure. And Sparks of Hope actually makes me hopeful for more Mario & Rabbids in the future. And before we go into my final game, I have to go into my favorite indie game of this year, and that is Vampire Survivors. I played this game late. I don't know why, because I freaking love this game. It's only $3 to $5 or whatever it is, and I bought it with the DLC, and it is just worth every penny and more. Why it wasn't $10 or $20, I have no clue, because it's packed with content. You know, with different characters you can unlock, different stages as you progress, different abilities. Every playthrough, it just feels so awesome, and getting all that treasure chests, and you just want to keep going and going and going. It is addicting, man. I'm telling you. I've only put like 10 hours, and I feel like I'm gonna put like 10 more hours or 20 more hours, because it's just that much fun. It is just, oh my god. It's a simple premise. You just move around, you collect, you know, gems, and you level up. You do get more abilities, and you can combine the abilities, your treasure chests and gold, and then you can use that for your more abilities and more characters. It's just so much freaking fun, man. I'm telling you. Once you get into it, I'm telling you, you're gonna be addicted to it, because it is just amazing. It sounds stupid, the title screen just looks awful, but I'm telling you, once you play this, you're gonna be hooked. So definitely my favorite indie game of this year. And the last game on my list, my favorite game of this year, is Total War Warhammer 3. I think you all expected this game. So for me, I have a lot to say about it, because it's the much anticipated sequel to Total War Warhammer series. You know, we had 2 and then 1. This is the final one that's a culmination of everything. Initially, it was rough. This was not a good launch at all. It was in a rough state. I don't know if it was in a Rome 2 level disaster, I would say. It was workable. It was just, there was a lot of things they needed to fix with this game, and it took a while. But it is in a better state for sure, towards the end of the year. And then they released the much anticipated Immortal Empires, which combines Total War Warhammer 2 and 1. All the different factions, all the different DLC, a big giant map. It was amazing, and it added everything that I wanted for this game. However, there are some things that they still need to touch up on, the combat and the AI, and down the road we're gonna get more updates with this game, and I'm gonna be putting this game more on my list every single freaking year for the next like 3 to 5 years, I would say, 5 to 6 years, I would say, because now the sky is the limit with the Immortal Empires. You're gonna have more DLC, different factions, different lords, legendary lords. They're gonna be putting more and more updates for this game, and I'm gonna be eating up all that DLC, because it's gonna add dozens, if not hundreds of hours each, and and then you have mods into the mix. Now this is when things can pick up and become great for this game, because initially it was rough, and it took a while, like months upon months, before we got into a better state. And even with Immortal Empires, it's still kind of rough. It's in a better state, but it's still not perfect. However, given time, this game is going to become freaking amazing and absolutely legendary. When it comes to grand strategy, Total War is where it's at, and Warhammer 3 is could end up possibly being the best of the Total War games in years. Probably the best ever. Who knows? And with more DLC down the road, there's more to look forward to, and don't be surprised if you see this game yet again in many, many years. So that was my list. Sorry it took so long to put out. But let me know what your guys' favorite games of 2022 are in the comment section below. Don't forget to please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Django Fett, if you haven't already. And that's it for the top 10, top lists for this 2022. So we're going to move on to 2023 right after this. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.